All right, guys, we're back on the channel. It's Uncle Makara, all relations. Let's get started. We're back in the lab again. Eureka! Okay, let's get started. So make sure that you share this with a friend that you like and subscribe already. I want you to understand that if you are 18 and older, make sure you also read the disclaimer, okay? And yeah, we're gonna have an incredible session today. So just get ready to take notes, okay? Get some snacks, get some water, so you can get right into this video today. Okay. All right, 1 second as I just adjust some of these settings. YouTube Creator Studio. Okay. All right, guys. So the art of social flow. This is a concept that is very, very interesting and is very, very powerful. Now, last night I had channeled Shukra, the Indian Venus. So I've tapped into the Venusian arts energy, the understanding of really how socializing starts to impact us on a very, very subconscious level. It's not very straightforward, right? When we're communicating, because there's many different layers, including what's going on in our subconscious minds. Okay. So the first thing to understand is I'm going to underline many of my ideas like a philosophy that echo the principles of flow state. Okay. Being fully engaged, adaptive, emotionally present in the moment. And this is basically where you can tap in and lock in towards your ideal way of being. Okay. So the first thing to understand is you gotta know the importance of staying casual and staying playful. So you gotta avoid forcing any outcomes. This is like the first stage of this thing. Okay. Because when you're in the zone, when you're in flow, you have a sort of effortless concentration. You're not like pushing, forcing your way to concentrate. You're deeply engaged because you're enjoying it. You're free from anxiety. You're free from overthinking because you're not stacking on the thinking. Okay? You're not making automatic negative assumptions or judgments about yourself. You're approaching socializing, encouraging spontaneity, right? So you help people also stay in the moment without giving them these rigid expectations of how they have to behave around you. Okay. But you enjoy the process. You enjoy the process more than the predictive control of what's going to happen in your mind. When you're trying to predict what's going to happen, it's causing more fear. It's not aligning you in the flow. Right? So you've got to learn how to boost this magnetism in a way where you keep interactions exciting. And this is really about balancing interest with detachment, or not attached to the outcome, right? So we're trying to maintain this balance, okay? And the balance gets built through also challenge and skill, which is the flow state, okay? Right level of challenge, it's the right level of skill. It's not too challenging that it's overwhelming, and you have the right level of skills to handle it, right? So we have to understand that in social interactions, playful tension actually has a function, right? A lot of us, we don't understand how to use tension. But just enough challenge can actually make a conversation very exciting and stimulating, while you're allowing for more of a smooth and adaptive engagement with others, right? So there's this push and pull dynamic, okay? There's this push and pull dynamic, which is it mirrors reciprocal tension in others, okay? So this is the dynamic of flow. When you're staying attuned to the moment, you adjust your behavior based on the feedback, the tone, the body language, and you adjust according to the immediate feedback that you're receiving, the social cues that you're receiving, okay? So the next thing I really want to emphasize is social calibration. Like a lot of people, we aren't taught this stuff, right? That's why it might take some of us way longer to learn this stuff because we all just focused on, let's I'm just gonna make money, right? And everything will be okay. But actually, to be able to connect with others, you have to have the ability to interpret social cues. You have to have an understanding of how these signals help you to adapt and keep the conversation flowing, right? Without overstepping boundaries, awkward pauses, random, interruptions in the social environment. Like, you've got to know that flow involves very heightened sensory awareness and responsiveness to the present moment. So social calibration actually mirrors this principle by requiring you to be more hyper attuned to what's going on right now. Okay. So then you can make quick and fluid adjustments in real time as you're adjusting, because you're focusing on reading the room ensures that you have a smoother flow with whoever you're communicating with. Just like how athletes in flow adjust seamlessly to random changes that are happening over the course of the game. Okay. It's the game because it's playful. It's meant to be played, not taken serious, as we heard from Shukra yesterday. Now, one of the most controversial ideas is the idea of truth-based manipulation, right? Using honesty is a way to build trust. So rather than being deceptive, I would actually lean in more towards your authentic expression. But also, by doing that, you're also steering the conversation subconsciously towards desired outcomes, right? So how does this connect back to flow? Flow thrives on authenticity and presence. Being truthful in interactions fosters trust and connection, which in turn promotes flow by eliminating mental friction like overthinking or second guessing or being intimidated, right? So subtle influence is like a dance. It flows between what feels natural and what you can gently guide. So staying fluid and adaptable and not rigid in certain environments, right? Social calibration would be knowing like you see two cups on the table, there's two people probably sitting there, right? If you miss the cup, you sit down, you look like a fool, right? Sitting on their seat. So this is social calibration. It's very, very important, and it's very, very effective once you understand this, okay? The next thing you want to do is avoid cringe, okay? And the way you do that is you embrace spontaneity over perfectionism. When you're trying to appear a certain way, you're actually looking way more cringe, bro. Okay? You're like trying so hard to, impress your date through doing all of these random maneuvers, rehearsing lines. This is gonna make you feel social fatigue, bro. This is gonna not make you feel genuine at all, like you're putting on a show, and you're gonna be walking around eggshells, actually. It's gonna make you very cringe. Because flow requires you letting go of control, and this one you're trying to embrace more of a control. So over planning or trying to be perfect will create a resistance, taking you out of the moment. But spontaneity allows you to stay immersed in the moment, in the now, weaving in and out of the cosmic dance that is this interaction without clinging to any preset outcomes, right? All right. So we also have to understand that social spontaneity lowers your cognitive load. Okay. Like how athletes are more present when they're not focusing on the strategy, they're involved in the game. Okay. So being authentic, goofy, a little bit unique with your friend group, that's perfect because you are expanding awareness beyond the individual now. You are not just you, the individual, you are the creator of fun, creator of this experience, this awareness, right? So you got to know how to engage the entire social group rather than focusing solely on one person that you're interested in. You'll notice that the most popular people or people who are very good at socially interacting, they take the pressure off by talking to everybody, right? They're not that one creepy guy that just talks to the hot girl. Okay. No, they're like that with everyone. You see, so there's not this kind of weird, strange energy like trying to maneuver something, right? Or have some agenda, but instead that one person is just tuning into the collective energy of the group. So they are staying out of their head and in the environment. They're completely in the environment. You guys get that? Completely zoned in on the environment. So one of the things is that you got to have fun and just learn to enjoy yourself for enjoyment's sake. It's called autotelic, the flow state, right? So it's a self goal. You're playing the guitar. Why? Because it's fun. It brings you a reward by itself. You're not trying to get the record label. Okay. So without worrying about whether you want to win or impress someone, this actually prevents social anxiety, keeps the conversation very light and engaging. So there's got to be like this intensity. So first of all, there's this ease and relaxation, right? Ease and relaxation, which builds up to more of an intensity, right? And this is a kind of a flow state pocket when it comes down to social momentum and social flow. Okay. So in the beginning of an interaction, it's more relaxed. And as the conversation starts going, there's almost like a span of time that you feel like you have that, oh no, I can only impress them. I've got to pull out all my tricks in the first 5 minutes, right? You have some kind of an agenda like this as you're going in to socialize. Okay. But detachment is a key element of flow. So when you're not fixated on a specific time to stay, or you can immerse yourself fully into the experience, that's when, social interactions remain very adaptive, playful, and you can be naturally open to where the conversation leads you, right? You're letting go of expectations, which reduces performance anxiety because now you're just fluid. You're in the moment. You're interacting. Okay. So it's very easy, guys. This letting go of control, balancing challenge and skill, staying fully engaged, adjusting in real time, right? All of these things are going to help you maintain this art of social flow. Okay, so we have to treat it like a fun dynamic rather than outcome driven, rigid rules. Okay. You want to understand how to embody mental and emotional freedom. Okay. This is what's truly going to help you. The most meaningful hallmark of flow, I would say, is when you can stay present, playful, and adaptive, creating deeper connections for yourself and others. Okay. So I've had to learn this the hard way, right? Obviously, I used to be very, very introverted when I was younger. I used to just observe environments a lot. And then I got really good at it. I even got good at spotting manipulation, right? So I wanted to talk a little bit about spotting manipulation, spotting liars a little bit, because this is also going to help you in field, right? When you're socializing, you need to know when someone's fucking with you, right? So know, like, trust is a KLT framework, okay? So a con man or manipulator uses this structure to build false rapport, right? So this is making you feel like you can trust them. By knowing someone, without awareness of their existence, trust can't develop. So liking happens when rapport is built by mirroring values and beliefs back to them, which increases the likelihood and trust. So in manipulative relationships, consistency is essential because, sudden shifts in behavior can usually be a warning sign, right? Abusers or manipulators often control the situation to their advantage, right? They refuse to yield any form of control. So a healthy partner shares control in decision making, right? However, in an unhealthy one, it's just like, just listen to me, yo, right? It's like, what? The speaker outlines three categories for identifying, um, a dishonesty: consistency, efforts, and time. Consistency, are their behaviors steady over time? Effort, how hard is the person working to maintain a certain story or certain behavior? And are there sudden inconsistencies within a short time frame? So you know how polygraphs, they measure the stress response, right? Trained individuals use their behavior to throw off a polygraph by showing sensitivity to everything, right? They can do that, some people, real expert manipulators, making the data unusable, right? So there's observing micro expressions, obviously these quick facial reactions that we do in a microsecond, and which helps us to uncover how people are really feeling, right? Because it's very quick. And so watching out for micro expressions can be very, very powerful. Okay. One thing that I would say is a lot of people in the spiritual community got to know this. Okay. Because there's time and time again, spirituality is such a place where there's a lot of smoke screens and confusion. Everybody bringing in their own philosophies and ideas and subjective views, that it becomes like this mixed stew of opinion rather than actual time-tested um, works of art, right? That help you expand the mind. So, and consciousness. So asking emotional questions can sometimes reveal inconsistencies or over effort responses, right? Or you can ask time-based questions more so, okay? So this is what they do in interrogation, right? So treating your gut instincts and treating your gut, right? Feel like we all need to treat our gut. Trusting our gut instinct can be very misleading because it's linked to the emotional part of the brain, right? So if you're trusting just your emotional part of the brain without further analysis, you're often just making an emotionally reactive choice, right? This is really, really key and important. Okay. All right. Cool. Guys, if you have any questions, just let me know. Okay. Any questions, just drop them in the chat. All right. So let's talk about control dynamics in relationships, right? If you're trying to carefully orchestrate interactions, maybe have a look at your own sense of control. Okay. So someone with OCD might show discomfort or anxiety rather than manipulation when control shifts. Also, like cults use that same framework to trap individuals, right? Gaining trust through seemingly innocent relationships before drawing them in. So this is what we really want to understand when it comes down to this is you are trusting the whole approach of your coherence. You're trusting your heart, your gut, and your brain. Okay. It's not just one and then we just, you know, amputate the others. We're not going to cut off the circulation or the power of the others as we only make gut-based instinctual primal decisions, which are linked to our emotional brain. I'm going to use my brain. I'm going to use my gut. I'm going to use my heart to make the decision with me, for me, by me, through me. Okay. It's not happening to me. The decision is not like, if I was forced to gunpoint or something, then maybe, yeah. But I'm not being forced to make a decision. The decision is valuable because it's a choice, and choice changes a negative belief into a positive. So what you're doing essentially is you're giving yourself a better choice, a better framework of being the cause and not always just being reactive in a social setting. Okay. Are you just reacting to everybody around? Oh, look at that person. Oh, no, what's going on over there, right? Are you in that gossip pettiness mode? That's gonna, you know, make a greater cognitive load, right? That's gonna feel like there's too many things in my brain for me to focus on right now, the social environment, right? There's the food, there's the lights, there's the sounds, there's all of these. It's like sensory overload at times, especially for sensitive individuals, empaths, and so forth. Okay. So what I suggest, is just like if you were a clairaudient, you understand how to do this. But maybe as just a social shaman, you haven't explored this yet. So I'm going to just remind you. You know how musicians have an ability to kind of pinpoint like the cocktail effect, like the cocktail party effect, right? You can hear one group over a whole talking room because you can zoom into it, right? So that effect is very, very powerful. Like as a musician has that effect to listen to a song and be able to actually separate the instruments and listen to only the clarinet or whatever, right? Even though it's in a trap song or something, they're picking up just the clarinet, okay, or the tuba or whatever. So the ability to pinpoint instrumentation like that, you want to be able to have that in social interactions when your cognitive load is getting too much, so you can just focus on one thing like a mantra. Just focus on the lights, just focus on the sound, one particular instrument of the sound. Focus on, maybe how people are dressed. That becomes your main, frame in which you start to move. You have to understand where you thrive, right? Where your strengths are at. Because if you don't know where your strengths are at, how are you going to double down on it? How are you going to, fine tune these social situations where you are actually aligning with the best parts of you, allowing for more flow state to emerge, right? So these are really, really important understandings and important cues. And again, this is the formula, okay? This is the formula. It's very, very simple. Spontaneity, playful tension, presence, calibration. All you need to know, okay? Challenge skill, okay? Push, pull, let go, engage more, let go, readjust, hone in, zoom out, let go, push, pull, push, pull, engage, disengage, engage, disengage. You see, now there's an energy forming. As you're doing all of these things, now you're in the zone, right? And you're getting an immediate feedback real time when you're socializing, right? Which is great to practice on these apps like Monkey, Omegle, or these places, because then you're talking to strangers, absolute strangers, right? And they have a chance to skip on you. So it's like you go through rejection multiple times. You go through this process of, Maybe someone calls you a weird thing, then they just troll you. And a lot of people use these apps to troll. A lot of people use these apps to, I don't know, just be horny mofos, right? Or whatever. So you have to understand how to weave and use this as a tool, right? I I see things as tools, not rules. Okay. This is my approach. So it's again, it doesn't have to look like yours. You can be a stickler for rules and maybe your rules work. Okay. But I've noticed for me, if I give you some tools and if you work with me like one-on-one or something, right? Or in uh, you know, one of our healing sessions, 2-on-1 with Ryan G supporting, right? If you do a session, you'll understand I'm giving you tools, not rules. So that doesn't mean you have to do it like some kind of a homework assignment and like give it back to me, right? Whatever resonates, you should absorb absolutely. Whatever doesn't, it's just a suggestion, right? It's just a suggestion. It could be helpful for you because I've seen it work. I know the statistics of it, right? The stats. Where's the statistics of it? My statistics is very clear. I show up every day on this thing, right? Very clear. I have doubled down my entire life to embracing and understanding the flow state because I found that to be the magnum opus. I knew that to be the philosopher's stone. I understood that it was way greater than just a state of mind, and that science will try to mask it and just like put it as this one peak performance kit, this tool, right? Okay, stealing fire from the gods or whatever, right? Or exaggerating it, but not really understanding how it functions as a unit, as an entity, as these different versions of the divine showing up, right? And so this is why we're looking at this thing. We're also starting to understand it from all of these different perspectives. So all you guys are from different parts of the world too, right? And you're seeing social flow very differently than you do in, Kosovo or Nicaragua, wherever you are, right? If you're like in the Cayman Islands or something, right? Your social flow is going to look very different than if you're in a big city, in New York, for example, right? Because it's a product of the environment. When we went to Costa Rica, you guys remember that pura vida, right? That was the vibe there. And so that allowed for more of that social flow to actually emerge because it was already embedded very deeply into the culture, the cultural shift of that, right? I might be heading to Thailand actually very shortly and meet up with some of my high school friends as well as Will, who we had on the podcast. So yeah, that's going to be exciting. Maybe I'll see if I can still do lives during that time. However, I will probably be doing little videos, video edits, and uploading them later, or maybe even during the trip. I'm pretty committed to this path, man. So even when I take breaks, I I make content. But anyway, tools, not rules, right? Educate, don't just medicate. I think these are very, very important laws, and for us to understand and understanding that, we really need to just go out there and imagine that what we want to accomplish has already come true and living your life from that perspective, right? From that paradigm. So the idea would be to basically predicate your behavior on that reality, not the illusions that surround it. So every thought, question, or answer is from there. I want you to think, okay? So let your focus shift and just imagine that you're born again and use the blackout method, right? Because you're dwelling from not upon, but the space you want to inherit is the fastest way to absolutely change everything. Okay. So go there now and never leave. And never leave. Go there now. Imagine your dreams have already been accomplished and you're celebrating it. that feeling, that relaxation that you feel through your somatic system, that like, I made it. I did it. It's already mine. Right? That feeling, that certainty of your consciousness. Imagine now that you're filtering every thought, every question that you have from that place. Okay. What miracle can I expect today? Ooh, that's a different way of speaking, bro, right? Like a futuristic 5D language that's coming through right now. And what do we just do? We just use the law of assumption, law of implication. And we made you understand that it's all done. You've already socialized. Okay. You already pulled 10 baddies. Okay, that night. And you go in to the venue with that energy. Yeah, it's already done. It's already mine. Okay, it's already here. I'm here to have fun. I'm here to amplify my fun. I'm looking for gratitude. You know how people do a gratitude walk? Why don't you do a gratitude walk through the venue, through the social venue? What if you can carry this energy, right, of appreciation? Imagine if you had a thank you tattooed on your soul, right? And you're just walking around with that gratitude, with that energy. And whether people are ungrateful, right, or taking your gratitude for granted, taking you for granted, right, or being ungrateful, doesn't matter. You're still in gratitude. You're still in thank you. Thank you, God, for the social interaction. To me, another mirror of me, right? A divine spark, another soul who's still on this journey, just like me, just like me. That melts away judgment. This melts away your own judgment. When you're judging someone else, say just like me right after. And when you do, you'll start to, it'll come back towards around to go, oh man, maybe that's kind of true though, right? Like, it like clenches you, but then it stops the ego from malfunctioning and like trying to take control of the car, right? That person is so overweight, like me, just like me. Okay? Get real with yourself. Get real with yourself. When you're judging more and more, you're causing more constrictions, but you're really constricting mirrored aspects of your own consciousness, right? So you're saying that that person is such an asshole, they're so annoying, they're a bad person. Yeah, that's sure. Just like you can be those things too, but maybe they're more of an amplified version of that, right? So we have to point the finger, like, three fingers pointed back, right? One finger pointed forward. So that's the energy that we've got to understand in it. The same thing happens with our self-love. Like we did an incredible self-love guided meditation last night with Shukra's energy, the Indian Venus. Okay. And it was a very, very powerful shift, at least in my consciousness, because right now I feel very creative, very light in my beingness. And I'm starting to understand that maybe I've been trying to control way too much, right? I just need to let go more and just let the flow emerge. And once I do that, I create this eternal trust because, hey, God's got me, He's on my side. He knows my heart. He knows my mind. And whatever happens in the social interaction, does it really matter as opposed to my spiritual journey? Like it's meant to be a part of my spiritual journey, right? Interacting with others and learning that not everything has to have these calibrated moments, right? Now, there are fearful times, and people getting, you're not supposed to talk to people at malls, you're not supposed to, do this, you're not supposed to do that. And yes, society will put the barricades on you, right? They'll tell you don't talk to strangers from a very young age. Yes, I understand stranger danger is real, right? But don't carry those beliefs as an adult because then you're never going to interact with people, yo. You have all of these old childhood beliefs where you're, just to protect you, your parents told you those things, but now they're in your subconscious and you can't get them out, right? You can't flush them out. So you got to be able to actually sit with yourself and be like, listen, this dynamic isn't helping me at all, right? Or you have some limiting belief about yourself that's just, again, limiting you. Whereas if you know that the situation is going to actually align towards the way that you set up for it, you align back into that normalcy. What is normal anyway, bro? Right? What is normal? Normal is different for everybody, right? Some people are, oh yeah, but it's just common sense. Yes, common sense for you. It's common sense for you, okay? Not to someone for a different reality, a different perspective than you, right? Two people from two different planets don't really understand each other, right? The Venusians and Martians have a tough time understanding each other, so they got to meet at the midpoint, right? Because their communication styles are different, even, right? One flows way more with change, one creates strategy, okay? So you're using the male mind to try to classify, subjugate, and categorize social interactions when this is a feminine art form. You guys get that? Give me a thumbs up. And if you really understand that this whole dynamic that is being generated is less about trying to control and more about letting go of control, right? Letting go of control does not mean that you're passive, okay? There's still an activity, but it's not being pushed or forced upon you, okay? 1 second, guys. My goodness. Um, yeah, getting a lot of calls. Um, okay, so a lot of people gave me feedback for this. So, yeah, epic. Yeah, I just shared a poem to the Sangha during the retreat that I went to, so getting a lot of comments from that. Okay, so back to social flow. Okay, creating momentum. Momentum starts very small and it stacks. So you say hi to the first person that you meet, right? Ryan G told me one of the greatest icebreakers for me would be, "Are you spiritual?" Right? That just says it opens the entire ballpark, right? It's a whole new world. Okay, spirituality is a very, very Pandora's box type of thing, right? So it can go whichever way. But I'm open to standing up for my values, standing up for my needs being met, standing up for holding myself to a specific kind of self accountability, you know? So it allows for more things to emerge once you understand that once you're socially calibrated, it doesn't even matter, right? It doesn't even matter. Like if you interact with someone like you've known them for so many years, like you've grown old with them, but now they're in this venue in this new life, right? Imagine if you had that paradigm and you're interacting with people. You've already created a familiarity. And then what if they treat you bad? You understand something else. It changes the storyline. For me, it doesn't change the storyline. You guys see that? The bad reaction that you got in the physical world does not change my imagination idea of it at all. At all. It doesn't even budget, you know? but you easily give up on your vision. Someone says, "Nah, that's not cool, bro," or "Yeah, let's change topics," right? And they just cut you off. I'm still in that world. I'm still in wherever I am, Mars or whatever, and I'm bringing that energy alive. I'm just tapping in, bringing that energy alive. Of course, understanding like not to just impose your will on other people or whatever, like just, So yeah, I'm getting rushed to go to head out. Okay, live. Okay, I'm getting rushed. I'm getting pushed to go out right now. I'm getting 7 calls at once. Okay, probably. But I'm still here with you guys, right? This is my priority right now. So I will take any final questions before I wrap up. Okay. Hey, let's show up to learn, man. Let's show up to learn. There's always more to be understood. You see, a lot of people like the adepts, they probably, some of them don't even have questions because they're all set, like they get it. They get the philosophy. Okay. Some people are just anxious, right? Some people are just anxious. Some of you are not even horny, you're just anxious. Okay. It's just anxiety, which is what? It's just adrenaline, bro. It's just energy. It's just excess energy. You can put it towards japa beats at excess energy. You can doodle, right? You can do anything else. In a social environment, let's say you're getting nervous. Why don't you tap your foot to the music? At least give yourself that. Give yourself some base, some foundation. Return back to your throne, your presence. What are you seeing? What are you hearing? What are you touching in that social environment? Okay. And now perceive beyond it. Now perceive beyond it. Go see yourself as a fly on the wall, having that social interaction. See yourself from a bird's eye view, having that interaction. See yourself from underground. Now you can only see your feet, but you're still having that interaction. Now see yourself from a completely different paradigm where a UFO is zooming in, it's using one of their rays and then just zooming in on you and having that social interaction. Now do it, and you are basically in an environment where it's an animated show and you're having that social interaction. Then you change it towards now it's cowboys and Indians, right? And you're having that interaction, and you keep doing this until you understand that no matter what facilities I change or I try to Photoshop this encounter to make it the most filtered versions, it doesn't take away from its essence. Because the essence is you communicating your truth, right? You expressing something, a message, something that's vital in that moment. We're all adults. We don't have to raise our hands and ask, like, could I please be excused? I need to use the bathroom, right? We go, like, yo. And then certain places, they have their own laws, their own rules. And this is what it sets up, a substructure around a main freedom structure. You might have a freedom structure, but you go towards someone else's family to ask you for dinner, and then you have a different structure all of a sudden. Okay. So you're trying to micromanage all of these different images of you in different places. You're going to your family, you're different. You're going to your friends, you're different. You're going to, you know, your auntie's house and it's different. Everywhere you go, you're trying to micromanage this specific version or image of you. So why don't you just find that one version of you that's worth it all, where you can face your entire family lineage, where you can face all of the relatives, where you can face everybody, right? Why don't you double down on that? It's scary, man, because you will be outcasted, right? But it's okay because you'll be happy. You'll be happy following your own inner calling, that voice of reassurance, guiding you back to your wholeness again. So this is really not just socializing. This is seeing versions of you out in nature, in other people. And once you understand, they're just lost, you know? Like I imagine myself like as this kind of alien character who's down here on Earth and just looking at everybody like they don't know. They're still lost, you know? And maybe that alien is speaking to a part of me, but you're not lost, you're going inwards now. Introversion is an introspection, an internal journey, right? A lot of artists, they become introverted, they become inwards rather than expressing out, extroverted, right? Creating connections. So shy is just you trying to hold on to this role or this mask of like, I have to be this certain way. I have to do things this certain way. I have to make decisions by this time. I have to. Creating pressure. It's not that you have to do any of those things. It's that you choose to remain in that frequency. Okay. So it's about choices, freedom and choices. All right. If you feel trapped or suffocated by a spiritual conversation, that's really saying something, right? That's going to take some inner work to unwind, to reestablish, you see. So as we're understanding how to merge our spontaneity with our presence, with our calibration and playful tension, playing with the tension, creative tension, right? The greater the tension, the greater the creation or treasure on the other side of that tension. Okay. And who's perceiving it? Okay. Who's perceiving it? That changes the entire, you know, world, that thing itself, because everything is inherently, empty. It's non-existent. However, we imply all of these social maneuvers that have evolved over the years, and we hold those as like, gravestones, or like we hold them as like these ideas or concepts that crush us. We make it such a big thing to be like this or say things like an entrepreneur or be like a certain professional way that we actually create more shackles to our expression, making us weaker and weaker. Instead of what? Free, liberated. Okay. Moksha time, baby. We're all here right now, exploring this dynamic. So trust in your playfulness, because your playfulness will lead you back into something very pure. You exploring the world and you changing your perspective. So you start to understand yourself very differently now, because you're not only tapping into social momentum, you're trusting in the playfulness that emerges from that. And you're carrying this thank you energy wherever you go. Right? So, okay, I got to get going, guys. Much love. Peace. I hope you enjoyed this. Okay. Have any questions, you can always shoot me a message personally and let's get right into it. New Zealand event coming up soon. Okay. We'll see you there if you're coming along. And have an incredible day. Let's get it. Okay. Happy Halloween in advance. Okay. Spooky season. Let's get it. Upward spiral.